Bonjour, my name is David DeVere. I'm a wine educator and traveler, and you are watching Savvy Nomad TV, the Eau de Vie edition. Today is Monday, December 6th, 2021. It's a beautiful, bright Monday, chilly, slightly snowy here in northern Minnesota, and we're about to open up bottle number 6 on the Costco wine advent calendar. If you don't know what we're doing, you can follow this link and figure that out. If you do know what we're doing, then you'll recognize that since yesterday was a white, I'm wearing red, and I'm thinking there's a red in the box. Let's find out. Yesterday's wine, the Chenin Blanc, was fun and very exciting. Sarah and I finished that Chenin Blanc with our late lunch, and that was nice. We had it with a French herbed grilled chicken and Brussels sprouts and what else do we have? Bread? Anyway. What?
Roquefort.
Roquefort. How could I forget? We had a nice slice of Roquefort. And that Chenin Blanc was perfect for that lunch. All right, let's see what today's bottle is. Here's number 6 right here. It's reindeer in a sweater. And inside, I was right, it's red. Ooh, Argentinian Malbec. Okay, let's try this. Okay, Malbec. Let's take a look at the bottle. Here it is. It's called Mendoza Nights, which is clever because Mendoza is the region of Argentina where this wine comes from. But the grape is a French grape. It's called Cot, C-O-T in France, or Cot. Just slightly say the T, I think. Cot. Anyhow, in France, it's called Cot, and it is grown in an area called Cahors, C-A-H-O-R-S, which is in the south central part of France, not very far from Bordeaux. In Cahors, this is made as a single varietal too, so it's not a blend, but it's often blended in Bordeaux when the wines in Bordeaux need more structure. And when I mean structure, it means they need a bigger body, or they need more aggressive tannins, or they need a darker color. This is a very dark wine generally. The grapes are black in color, so they make a very, very dark wine that's very saturated with tannins. And the tannins make the wine very grippy on the mouth. Now, the way tannins work is when you taste a wine and you first ingest the tannins and you have nothing in your mouth, no food, or haven't eaten, the tannins attach to your saliva, and you swallow your saliva, and now your tongue is not lubricated by your saliva. It's making me want to wet my mouth. Anyway, so you swallow that saliva, and now you feel your tongue bashing around inside your mouth. When you eat a piece of fatty meat, like a piece of steak or something, a sausage, then those tannins come into the mouth and attach to the fat molecules, preferentially rather than the saliva. They attach to the fat, you swallow that, and now your mouth feels cleaned and smooth, and the wine tastes smooth. So with a Malbec in particular, you do want to have something to eat with it, preferably something fatty like cheese or fatty meat or greasy, maybe even a pizza. That would be pretty good here. Okay, back to the grape variety. Grown in France, not particularly good in the expressions that come from France. It's just a little bit too grippy and too dark. But when it was taken to Argentina in the 1860s and planted at elevations between 3,000 to 5,000 feet, that changed the grape. And we got Argentinian Malbec, which became much smoother, much rounder, and much more expressive in its aromas. You get blackberries, maybe a little bit of game and leather, and very slight violets. Those are the aromas we're looking for. Okay, let's open this up. Let me go get my wine opener. Okay, I'm back with my wine opener, but if I want to fill out the top of my chart, we've got Monday. This is the last column for this sheet, so you'll need a new sheet for tomorrow. Malbec, Argentina, and it's aged in oak. I'm absolutely sure that nobody is doing Malbec aged in stainless steel. These big red wines always want to be aged in an oak barrel. And I've had people ask me before what kind of other woods were used. And I learned this summer in France that occasionally, especially during World War II when oak was in higher demand and all the oak was being stolen by the Germans, they used acacia wood, which I think is interesting. I don't think that's very common nowadays, but I bet you could still find it. So, aged in an oak barrel. All right, let's pour this and take a look at it. So the color, like I said, should be black. The best way to look at the color of a wine is hold it up to a white surface, and then you can put your hand behind it. I can barely see my hand. So the color here is very good. Here, let me show you. You see? Can you see through that? I can't. All right. So I've got, what would you call that? It's more red, I think, than purple. So I'm going to go red brick, and it's going to be deep and dark. All right, now this wine should not have a big aroma. It will have some aroma, but don't expect a lot. It's not a white wine. Reds are more closed off than that. Well, I do smell kind of a sweet berries. That was the initial impression, sweet berries. That smells good. I'm just going to rate sweet berries. And I think the aroma is nice. I'm going to give it an 8. Okay, let's taste it. Is it dry or sweet? It's dry. What's the body? It should be full-bodied. It's a little bit less than what I would consider super full, so it's maybe medium full. Yesterday I talked about the legs in the Chenin Blanc, and here the legs are dripping down. You can kind of see that too. Again, just an indication of body, not an indication of quality. Acidity. This is smooth. I'll go smooth. The acidity is not overly pronounced, but there's still that tart kind of cherry flavor. Yeah. So good acidity. I'll give that an 8. Balance. Do I notice the alcohol? No, I don't, which is quite a pleasant thing. I forgot to do the temperature of this wine. I mean, it's cold in here, but let's just see what it's at. 61. So that's just fine for these big, bold reds, no problem. But if it was a warmer than that, the alcohol starts to volatilize, and you notice a burning sensation in the back of your mouth. If you've ever been to a restaurant and ordered a glass of red wine just by the glass, often you get that sensation. It can sometimes come in as a spiciness too, but if it's served too warm, that spiciness is not good, where if it's served at the right temperature and you get a wine that's spicy, that's noticing the alcohol, but that's in balance. Anyway, I don't notice the alcohol here. And the alcohol percentage is almost 14%, 13.9. So that's in balance. The acid's in balance. The tannins, which for some Malbecs or some Cahors from France are so grippy sometimes, it just feels like someone's ripped out your tongue and rubbed it with sandpaper. This is not like that. These tannins are pretty good. And the sugars are just fine. So we've got good balance. And what would I give it? I'll give it an 8 again. Now, complexity. Let me taste it one more time. One thing that you can do to try to stimulate additional flavors to grade complexity properly is while you're holding the wine in your mouth, breathe through your nose. You're moving oxygen up into your mouth. Your mouth is 97, 98 degrees. So now you're releasing all of those aromas that are kept in there, and you're oxygenating them. Is that even a word? Oxygenation? No. Anyway, you're letting in a little more oxygen into the wine, and that can give you more aromas, flavors, and complexity. Here, I don't actually notice any. So, is it disappointing? It may be a little bit. Maybe the complexity is a little disappointing. All right, 4. And finish in length. I can still taste it. Certainly the tannins are grippy. Is it a pleasing long finish? Not particularly. I've had other Malbecs that have given you a much nicer, oakier finish that really make you want to go back and drink this. I'm going to give it a good finish. I'll give it a 5. So there it is. There is our day 6 Malbec. I'm going to go do my math. Here are my scores. 8 for aroma, 8 for acidity, 8 for balance, 4 for complexity, 5 for finish and length for 33 points. Add 50 to that, and we've got 83. A very respectable score. This is certainly quite a bit better than the Moldovan Cab or our French Merlot from day 2. Yeah, day 2. This is probably the best red we've had so far out of the box. No, it is the best red we've had so far out of the box. For day 7, tomorrow, you're going to need a new tasting card, so download that. Maybe I'll add a link in the description to those. And if you've enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up. What did you score this Malbec? Did you give it an 83? More? Less? And if you drink a lot of Argentinian Malbecs, because I know some of you out there drink exclusively Malbec, how does this compare to what you're normally drinking? I think it could have been a little more flavorful, certainly in the finish and in the complexity department, but for the Costco wine box, this is a pretty good expression. All right, if you're new here, consider subscribing. If you're not, I'll see you tomorrow for day 7. And I say, à tout à l'heure, and cheers. Now, do I have any steak in the freezer for lunch?
Hello. Malbec from Argentina. Not usually my first red choice because of the tannins being so strong often. Oh gosh, that smells good. Very fruity and berry-y. It does not smell too sharp or acidic. That's pretty well balanced. It doesn't burn. Kind of thin, but overall a pretty good flavor and feel.